The strategy you're about to learn is what I'm known for. This is how many of my clients are generating 7 figures, some of them 7 figures monthly. You're going to learn how to research keywords for YouTube the right way. So what you're about to see in this episode is actual keyword research, the way that I do it to get results on YouTube. So it's actually not the funnest thing. Okay, no keyword research is. It doesn't take that long though. Like the tool that I'm going to show you is really simple, and I'm going to demonstrate it for you. I really want to emphasize how valuable this step is. You do not want to skip it. Okay, if you skip this step, you won't get as many views on your videos. You'll make a great video. Your content is awesome. That's not the question. But you'll put it on YouTube and you won't get the results that you're hoping for. But if you take this step, then when you put that video on YouTube, right from the beginning, you will instantly have an audience. People that are searching for your expertise will now find your videos. So this step is critical. We're going to start out with 2 searches. The first one is sales team. So I've got a Google Doc spreadsheet already prepared here. I'm going to come over to my favorite tool. This is the Keyword Magic tool by semrush.com. Okay, they have a lot of tools. I don't use any of the other tools. This is the only one that I use, so don't let it overwhelm you. So if I put sales team into that search bar, I hit search, then I come over here and hit questions. Make sure that that's on. That's really important. And then I always turn on my default word count is 8. And if I need to adjust it from there, I can, but usually I get great results right from the beginning. So I'm thinking if I help sales teams, like this second one is great. How to motivate a sales team when sales are down. Or how to set sales target for sales team. That one is super specific. What does a sales floor team leader do at Target? So if you're wanting to work for Target, I'll uncheck that one. But the next one is great. How to build a high-performing sales team. Or if you want to implement Salesforce, then how to get sales team to use Salesforce. Okay, notice this one right here, how to motivate your sales team when sales are down. That's pretty similar to the one up there. And so you don't need to check both of them. We're only looking for individual titles for episodes. If it's a repeat, skip it. Ooh, this is an interesting topic. What's your take on collaboration within a sales team? It doesn't sound like a question the way that people would word it, but there are 40 people searching per month on average that type in that exact phrase. So that's pretty interesting. How to write a business plan for a sales team. Do's and don'ts for sales teams. So you see, we're finding a lot of great examples there, and I've only scratched the surface. See how long this list is here? So when you get down to 0, that's a good place to stop. Okay, for now, let's see how many I found. If I hit export, I've selected 7 so far, so I can download that one and I can add it to my Google Doc. All right, now let's go do sales techniques. So I've already got my search parameters set up. I'll just replace that search bar phrase. So it leaves the filters and the questions button turned on. All right, so what are the various types of sales promotion techniques? Or how to deal with high pressure sales techniques? That's pretty interesting. So you'll notice that it only has 7 suggestions for us. You can pick through and find which ones you like. This might be a scenario that you could turn the number of words down. So let's go down to 6 just to see if we find any more. We still want it to be specific. Okay, and that probably tripled the size of our list. So I'd comb through this list, like what is the Friedman sales technique? If you know what that is, that's obviously a really specific question, even though that's only 6 words long. So that's a good example that you could go for there that's still specific enough. When you get down to phrases like this, what are the techniques of sales? 1, I don't like the way that's worded, but 2, it's not as specific as I would like, so I would skip that one. Just be careful with the phrases that are shorter. All right, so I've grabbed 8 more, and I'll add those to the spreadsheet. Okay, now I'm going to dive into branding. That's a big chunk, right? Let's see if people are asking a lot of questions about branding. I always turn on questions. I repeat that over and over and over so people don't miss that. And then word count, we'll start at 8 again. Okay, yeah, we've got a big list. I mean, right off the bat, how to come up with a brand name. That's got a high volume, which is good, but that means we have a high competition, which is bad. So typically we do not want to start there. Now let me just show you a little trick that you can do. So if I take that exact phrase and I put that in the search bar, we'll come back to the search we just did. Okay, look at this. We get more specific questions about that. So how to come up with a clothing brand name. That's more specific and you're going to have less competition. How to come up with a makeup brand name, how to come up with a beauty brand name, how to come up with a good brand name. All right, so just by adding one more word into these phrases, we get way more specific and you're actually going to rank on YouTube. So I'm going to check all these great ones. There's fitness, there's catchy, a brand name and logo perhaps, for yourself, designer or fashion, or good clothing brand name. Wow, even more specific. Hair, lash, luxury, streetwear, unique. All right, and then we've run out. So once I get to 0, I stop. I'll export all of those. We got 16 that I found just by modifying that search. All right, so I will just highlight all of these from the download and come over here to the spreadsheet. And I don't know if I have enough room, so let me add some more lines there. Okay, now I can actually just go right back by hitting the back button and it will go back to the search we had before. And I'm going to just scroll down and start once we get down. Let's actually go to page 2. How to become a brand ambassador for Shein. Don't know what that is, but that's a really specific question. If you know the answer to that, you make that episode, yeah, you're going to have your target audience right there. This is a great question. How to check if a brand name is taken. That would be a valuable episode. Okay, and then there's a lot of brand questions in here that don't apply, but I'm going to just pass through those. Then we got a lot of questions about brand new. So when you do just a one-word search, sometimes you run into this, that you're finding a whole bunch of topics that don't apply. You can come up here and you can exclude keywords. You can try and narrow it down a little bit more. So I'll stop this demo for now just because it's really time consuming. But if this is you, if you're a branding expert, then you want to just comb through this list and find those that do apply to you and take them over to your spreadsheet. Now I want to do overcome or overcome challenges. Let's start with the word overcome. So I've already got the same filters turned on. I'll just replace that search. So it'll still be 8-word questions. All right, what do we find? How to overcome shortness of breath during pregnancy. What are 5 things you can do to overcome stereotypes? That one's pretty cool. How to overcome the fear of the dark. How to overcome fear of needles and injections. And there's some funny ones in here. What is the best strategy for overcoming low self-esteem? Love these questions. How to overcome a crush on a coworker. I guess there's a lot of people that need help with that. Ooh, how to overcome a cold in a day. I've done that, but I've also failed at that. All right, so I like those, and there's going to be a lot more. I could continue digging through this, and there's going to be hundreds under just that one search. So I'll go ahead and export. I've got 6, and I can paste those in here. Of course, you're going to keep going, right? And you'll find hundreds. I want to add the word challenges just to show you that you can narrow it down if you add in an extra word. Okay, this would be a great story. What challenges did Helen Keller overcome to achieve success? Wow, look how long this one is. How to overcome communication challenges within a global company. That is a 9-word phrase that gets searched 50 times per month. That is gold. If you make a video with that exact title and you can answer that question, you will get results. Another very specific one. How can a positive mindset help overcome challenges? Or how to overcome challenges in human resource management. How would you overcome communication challenges on a remote team? Okay, so these just go on and on. Just out of curiosity, I want to see, okay, so right about halfway down the page, we run out. But these are gold. Everyone that I've checked so far is so unique and so different, and they're your exact target audience if you help people overcome challenges. And I'll just paste those ones that I quickly grabbed. So that's what I do. I just dig through the tool, I grab the ones that I like, and I store them in a spreadsheet so that I have them, and I film 20 episodes every 4 weeks. Okay, for my last example, I'll keep my filters the same. I've got the word count to 8, questions button turned on, and I'll put in effective communication. Let's see what we get. All right. Which of the following is a barrier to effective communication? You tend to find questions like that, but that doesn't really make sense. Like, which of the following is? So it's commonly asked on Google or YouTube. But I don't know if that's such a good video title. But listen to this. Why is effective communication important to career success? And this one's interesting. What is the 4th step of effective communication? So if you've got 4 or more steps, then you could answer that. Or maybe this one's better. What is the 1st step of effective communication? And this one's just so specific, so many words. Why is effective written communication important in the workplace? If I count that, I think that's 9 words long. That long phrase, 170 searches per month. That's crazy to me. Well, we've got 2nd step, 3rd step, we've got 5th step. So there you go. You can make 5 different episodes if you have 5 steps. Now, if you also help with communication in relationships, here's one: how to communicate effectively in a romantic relationship. Back to business: how to promote effective communication with your colleagues. So I think you've got the idea here, but this is a huge gold mine. I scroll down the page and there's a lot here. So I'll hit export. My filming team is laughing at me because I've said export so many times that I don't even know how to say it anymore. Anyway, I've exported that list and now I'll copy it over and paste it in my Google Doc. If you've watched this far in the video, I commend you, because this stuff isn't the funnest. It's kind of boring, right? But it's so important. I said that at the beginning, and I want to wrap it up this way, that if you do this step first, your videos will get results. It works all the time. There aren't exceptions to this. Instead of trying to trick Google or the YouTube algorithm, you're doing what they want you to do. You're creating content that's really, really specific that people are searching for. And because we're going so long, you're eliminating the competition. Okay, no one else is going after these phrases, so you make a video with phrases like I've just shown you, and you will get results on YouTube. Now that you've caught the vision of the difference between push and pull marketing, I have a 5-ingredient formula that I want to share with you. I've recorded another episode. You can either click on it here or up here. The episode is how to get 1,000 subscribers a day on YouTube.